The door left ajar. The human walked slowly through the long alien hall. The mansion was silent, too silent, and every step echoed against the shining walls. Strange patterns glowed on the floor, like stars trapped under glass. He was not supposed to be here. One wrong turn, one wrong sound, and the alien guards could end his life. Still, something in him kept moving forward. He reached the end of the hall and stopped. There, on the left, was a door. It was not fully closed. Just a little gap, just enough to show a soft glow spilling out into the dark passage. The glow was not from a lamp, not from any machine he had seen. It was warm, alive, like moonlight mixed with fire. The human's heart beat faster. He told himself to walk away. He told himself to turn back, return to the room where they kept him, and forget about this strange light. But his feet did not listen. His chest felt tight, like some unseen hand was pulling him closer to that glow. Then he heard it, a sound, so soft it almost melted into the silence. A voice, not speaking, not whispering, but humming. The tune was light but filled with a sadness that pressed into his chest. It was the sound of someone alone, someone who had no one to listen. The human froze. His mind screamed, "Don't go, closer." Yet his body leaned toward the gap. His hand pressed against the cold wall, trying to steady himself. He could not explain it, but the voice touched him deeper than anything had in years. He took one slow step, then another. The light grew brighter, the song clearer. His heart pounded against his ribs, not from fear, but from something he could not name. When he reached the door, he stopped again. He could leave now. Nobody would ever know. But his curiosity was stronger than his fear. Slowly, carefully, he pushed the door a little wider. The room inside looked different from the rest of the mansion. There were no sharp walls, no glowing machines. Instead, soft curtains hung from the ceiling, moving gently like waves in water. A silver glow filled the space, shining from a crystal lamp shaped like a flower. The air smelled sweet like blossoms after rain. And there, near the window, she sat. An alien girl, her back turned toward him. Her hair was long and white, shining as if each strand carried starlight. She brushed it slowly with a comb carved from glass. Her skin glowed faintly, silver and smooth like polished stone. The human's breath caught in his throat. She was not like the others he had seen, not armored, not cruel, not carrying weapons. She looked fragile, almost human, but with an otherworldly beauty that made him forget where he was. He should leave now. He should close the door before she noticed. But his eyes refused to move away. He could not stop staring. Then, as if the universe punished his boldness, she shifted. Slowly she raised her head. Her eyes met his through the reflection in the tall mirror before her. Two bright, glowing orbs, the color of molten silver, locked onto his. The brush slipped from her hand. Her lips parted slightly, letting out a soft gasp. For a long second, neither of them moved. Time seemed frozen. His heart slammed in his chest so hard he thought she could hear it. Then she rose from her seat. Her movements were sharp, graceful, like a predator ready to strike. She turned fully toward him, her long gown brushing against the floor. The human panicked. He wanted to step back to run, but his legs felt heavy. Her voice broke the silence. It was soft, but it carried power. "What are you doing here, human?" The words stabbed through him like a blade, not shouted, not angry, but heavy with disbelief and warning. The human opened his mouth, but no words came. His throat was dry. His tongue stuck to the roof of his mouth. The alien girl took one step forward, then another. Her glowing eyes never left his. Behind him, the hall remained silent. If he ran, he would be caught. If he stayed, she might call the guards. Either way, danger was closing in. Still, something in her voice, something in her trembling tone, told him this moment was more than danger. This was the start of something neither of them had expected. And he, a human in the wrong place at the wrong time, had no idea what he had just stepped into, caught in the glow. The human stood frozen at the doorway, his heart beating so loud it felt like the whole mansion could hear it. The alien girl's silver eyes glowed in the dim light, fixing him in place. He had never seen eyes like that before, bright, alive, filled with something between fear and anger. Her gown shimmered faintly as she stepped closer. Every sound in the hall vanished. Only her voice remained soft but heavy with warning. "What are you doing here, human?" she repeated, her tone sharper this time. The human opened his mouth, but only air came out. His throat was dry. He wanted to explain, to say he had not meant to intrude, but his words stuck. She tilted her head slightly, waiting, but her patience was thin. I heard something," he finally whispered. His voice cracked, weak, but it was all he could manage. Her eyes narrowed. "You heard something?" He nodded quickly. "A sound, a song. I didn't mean—" Her expression changed in an instant. Her breath caught. Her glowing eyes widened. She stepped back, as if his words struck her harder than any weapon. "You heard my song?" she asked, almost in disbelief. The human hesitated. He thought maybe he should lie. Say no. Say he had only been curious about the light. But lying felt wrong. Something deep inside told him that her question was more important than it seemed. "Yes," he said quietly. "I heard you." Silence filled the room. She stared at him like he had spoken something forbidden. Then she moved quickly, crossing the room in just a few steps, her gown brushing against the floor like soft waves. Her face was only inches from his now. He could see the fine glow in her skin, the delicate lines of her alien features. She was beautiful in a way that felt dangerous, like staring too long at fire. "Impossible," she whispered. "Humans cannot hear it. Not the way it was meant. Not that melody." The human swallowed hard. "But I did. I don't know how, but I did." Her hand rose slowly, trembling, as if she wanted to touch him but feared what might happen. She stopped just short of his shoulder, her glowing fingers hovering close. "If you truly heard it," she said in a hushed voice, "then you carry something you should not." The human's chest tightened. "I didn't mean to. I wasn't spying. You just broke the rule," she interrupted, her voice almost a whisper. "No one is allowed to listen. Not even my own people without permission. That song is sacred. It belongs to me alone." Her eyes searched his face, desperate, confused. For a moment, the human thought she might scream, call for guards, or strike him down. Instead, she stepped back and pressed a hand against her chest, as if steadying her breath. The room felt heavier now, thick with danger and something unspoken. Finally, she whispered, "Say it. Say the words you heard." The human froze. His mind raced. Did she want proof? Would repeating her song mean even greater offense? His fear told him to stay silent, but his gut told him to answer. Slowly, nervously, he whispered a few notes of the melody that had drawn him in. His voice was shaky, clumsy compared to her perfect sound, but it was enough. The alien girl's eyes widened again. Her lips parted, trembling. She backed away, her hand covering her mouth as if she had seen a ghost. "You really heard it," she breathed. "No human should be able to, not ever. It's not possible." Her glowing eyes locked back onto his. For the first time, her anger seemed to fade, replaced by something else. Fear. Not fear of him, but fear of what it meant. The human took a cautious step forward. "I didn't mean harm, I just couldn't ignore it. Your song, it felt alive." Her hands clenched tightly at her sides. She shook her head slowly, as if fighting with herself. "You don't understand," she said. "If the others find out, if they learn you heard me, They will not only punish you, they will punish me too. His breath caught. Why you? Because I let it happen, she whispered bitterly. Because I let a human listen. Her voice broke slightly on the last word, and for a moment she looked less like a powerful alien and more like a lonely soul trapped by rules she could not escape. The human's chest ached at the sight. He wanted to tell her she was not alone. He wanted to tell her her song was beautiful, more beautiful than anything he had ever known. But the sound of footsteps in the distant hall stopped him. Both of them froze. The glow of her eyes flickered with sudden panic. Hide, she hissed, her voice urgent now. Quickly! The human's heart leapt into his throat. He looked around the room, unsure where to go. Her hand shot out, pointing toward the thick curtains near the corner. Without another word, he rushed behind them, pressing his back against the cold wall, pulling the heavy cloth around him. His breathing was loud in his ears, but he forced it down. The alien girl smoothed her gown, took a deep breath, and turned toward the door just as it opened. 2 guards stepped inside, tall and armored, their glowing spears humming with energy. The human's heart pounded harder than ever, and from behind the curtain he heard her calm voice lie. I was only singing to myself, she told them. A dangerous curiosity. The human stood hidden behind the heavy curtain, his chest tight with fear. Every second felt like an hour. He could hear the low hum of the alien guards' weapons, feel the tension in the air. If they discovered him here, there would be no escape. The alien girl stood tall in the middle of the room, her glowing eyes calm, her hands folded in front of her. She looked so different now, graceful, confident, almost royal. One guard stepped forward. His voice was deep, metallic. We heard something unusual, he said. Strange vibrations in the hall. What was it? The girl tilted her head, her expression steady. It was my song, she replied. I often practice alone. The walls carried it farther than I meant. The guard's glowing spear pulsed. Your father forbids such tones after dark. Her lips curved into a small, cold smile. Then tell my father yourself, she said firmly, or leave me to my silence. The 2 guards shifted uncomfortably. Neither dared argue further. After a tense pause, they bowed their heads slightly and stepped back. As you wish, lady, one muttered. Then they turned and left, the door sliding shut behind them. The room fell into silence again. The human let out a slow, shaky breath. His legs felt weak, his palms damp with sweat. He had just stood 1 heartbeat away from death. Then, the curtain moved. The girl pulled it back, her glowing eyes staring at him sharply. You should not be here, she whispered. Her voice trembled now, no longer calm. Do you understand what danger you bring? The human swallowed hard. I didn't mean to. I was curious, that's all. Her eyes narrowed, silver light flickering in them. Curious, she repeated, as if the word itself was strange. She stepped closer. Curiosity kills humans, especially here. The human straightened his back, trying not to look weak. Maybe. But curiosity also saves them. It's what makes us human. Her expression shifted for a moment, almost surprised. Then she shook her head. You risked everything for a sound you should not have heard. For a glimpse you should not have seen. Do you even understand what would happen if the guards had found you? He looked at her steadily. They would have killed me. Her lips pressed together. Yes, she whispered. Killed you, and punished me. He blinked. You? But you protected me. She turned away, moving toward the mirror where her silver brush still lay on the table. She picked it up slowly, her fingers trembling as if they carried a weight far heavier than a simple comb. You don't understand, human, she said softly. My kind. We are bound by rules. Rules older than your world. If anyone learns that I let you hear my song, I will lose everything. My name, my freedom. Perhaps even my life. The human's chest ached. He had never seen anyone speak with such quiet sadness. She looked so strong, so beautiful, yet under that strength was something fragile, something lonely. He took a step toward her. "Then why didn't you turn me in?" Her hand froze mid-motion. For a long moment she didn't answer. Then she placed the brush back on the table and turned her glowing eyes to him. "Because," she said slowly, "I wanted to know. I wanted to see if it was true. If a human could really hear me." Her voice grew softer. "And you did." The human's heart pounded. He felt like the ground under him had shifted. She was not his enemy, not completely. Something deeper tied them now, something neither of them understood. But danger still hung in the air. He cleared his throat. "So what happens now?" She walked closer, her long gown sweeping across the floor like flowing water. Her glowing eyes locked onto his again, filled with intensity. "Now," she whispered, "you stay silent. No one must know. Not the guards. Not the others, not even my father. Especially not him." The human frowned. "Your father?" Her lips tightened. "He is the master of this house, and he hates humans." A chill ran down the human's spine. He imagined what would happen if the father found out his daughter had been alone in a room with a human, singing sacred songs to him. "But if he hates humans?" the human asked quietly. "Why am I here at all? Why not kill me already?" Her gaze softened for the first time, almost gentle. "Because you are a servant, and servants have uses." Her words stung, but he could hear the regret in her tone. The human stood silent for a long moment. Then he shook his head. "I don't care what your father thinks. I only care about what I saw tonight, about you." Her cheeks flushed faintly, a glow rising under her silver skin. She looked away quickly, her hands tightening at her sides. "You shouldn't say such things," she murmured. "Not here. Not ever." The human stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Then tell me to leave, tell me to go, and I will, but if you don't—" She turned back to him, her glowing eyes wide, her breath quick. For a long, fragile second, the world seemed to hold still. Finally, she whispered, "You're dangerous, human. More dangerous than you know." The human felt his pulse quicken. For the first time since entering the room, he realized she wasn't just afraid of the guards. She was afraid of him, or maybe, afraid of what he was becoming to her. And deep inside, he knew this was only the beginning. Secrets behind the curtains. The room was quiet again, but the silence was heavy. The human stood near the center, his mind full of questions, his body still tense from the danger of the guards. The alien girl, however, turned away from him and walked toward the tall curtains. With one hand, she touched the soft fabric as if it carried a secret only she knew. "You should have never come here," she said softly, her back facing him. Her silver hair glowed faintly in the lamplight, making her look like a figure from a dream. "But now that you have, you need to understand something." The human took a careful step forward. "Understand what?" Her hand tightened on the curtain. She hesitated for a long moment, then finally pulled the cloth aside. Behind it, he expected another wall. Instead, he saw strange marks burned into the stone, lines and circles that glowed faintly like fading embers. The human blinked. "What then is that?" She turned her glowing eyes to him, and for the first time he saw not just fear but a strange kind of trust. "This," she whispered, "is my secret, the one that can never leave this room." The human moved closer, his curiosity stronger than his fear. The markings looked alive, shifting slightly as though reacting to his presence. His skin prickled when he reached out, almost touching the glowing surface. "Don't," she said sharply, grabbing his wrist, before his fingers could brush the stone. Her hand was cold but soft, her grip surprisingly strong. "It is not for humans to touch." The human met her gaze. "Then what is it?" Her lips trembled, and she looked away, releasing his wrist slowly. "It's part of the song," she said quietly. "The song you heard? My song. It's older than me. Older than this house, older even than my father's rule. The human frowned. The song comes from this wall? She shook her head. No. The wall only holds it. Like a cage holds a bird. The song lives inside me. I was chosen to carry it. The human felt a chill crawl down his spine. He thought of her singing alone, her voice full of sadness. He thought of how it had drawn him here, against all reason. Chosen by who? He asked carefully. Her glowing eyes softened, but her voice broke when she answered. By the ones who are gone, by those who gave us this gift and this curse. The human wanted to press for more, but he saw the way her shoulders trembled. She was strong, but the weight of her secret was crushing her. You're saying no one else knows? He asked. She nodded slowly. No one. Not even the guards. Not even my father. If they knew, they would lock me away forever. Or worse, her voice dropped into a whisper. That is why your being here is dangerous. You heard it. You felt it. And that makes you part of it now. The human stepped back slightly, stunned. He hadn't asked for this. He hadn't wanted to carry any secret, but he also knew he couldn't walk away. Not anymore. Why me? He asked finally. Why can I hear what no other human can? Her eyes searched his face, desperate for an answer she didn't have. I don't know, she admitted, and that frightens me more than anything. They stood in silence, the faint glow of the symbols painting the walls with light. For a moment, the human forgot the danger, forgot the mansion, forgot the guards. All he saw was her, an alien girl trapped between duty and fear, her secret now shared with him. Then footsteps echoed again in the hall. Heavy, slow, deliberate. Her face turned pale. She quickly pulled the curtain closed, hiding the glowing wall. Go, she whispered urgently. Back behind the curtain, now. The human obeyed, slipping into the shadows once more. His heart thundered as the door creaked open. This time, it wasn't the guards. It was a tall figure draped in dark robes, his eyes glowing a colder, sharper silver than hers. His presence filled the room like a storm. The human realized instantly who it must be, her father. The alien girl bowed her head quickly, hiding her trembling hands in the folds of her gown. Father, she said softly. The robed figure's voice was low and dangerous. I heard your song. The human's breath caught in his throat. His blood ran cold. The girl forced a calm smile. I was only practicing. But her father's eyes narrowed, scanning the room slowly, as if he could sense the truth lingering in the air. Behind the curtain, the human pressed himself against the wall, praying to stay invisible. But deep inside, he knew something. The secret was no longer safe. And soon, curiosity would cost them both more than they could imagine. The forbidden bond. The human stood frozen behind the curtain, hardly daring to breathe. The air in the room had changed the moment the robed figure stepped inside. The father's presence was heavy, like a shadow that swallowed all light. His glowing silver eyes swept across the room slowly, carefully like knives searching for something hidden. The alien girl kept her head bowed low, her hands tight against her gown, so he would not see them tremble. She forced her voice to remain calm. It was only a song, Father, she said softly. I meant no disrespect. The father's gaze lingered on her for a long moment. Then his deep voice rumbled. You sing too often, child. Songs invite weakness. They open doors that must stay shut. Her lips pressed together, but she bowed deeper. I will stop, Father. The father turned his head slightly, scanning the corners of the room. For a heartbeat, the human felt those glowing eyes lock onto the curtain where he hid. His pulse hammered so loud he feared it would give him away. But the father only narrowed his eyes, then turned back toward his daughter. Do not test my patience again, he warned. Your duty is not to the past. It is to me, and to this house. Yes, Father, she whispered. He stared at her a moment longer, then finally turned and left. The door slid shut behind him, sealing the heavy silence once again. The girl stayed bowed for several breaths, as if the weight of her father's presence still lingered. Only when she was sure he was gone did she straighten and turn toward the curtain. "Come out," she whispered. The human stepped out, his body weak with relief. He exhaled heavily, leaning against the wall. That was close. Too close. Her glowing eyes were still wide with fear. "You shouldn't be here. If he had seen you." She shivered, unable to finish the thought. The human moved closer, but he didn't. "Because of you." Her eyes snapped to his, glowing faintly in the dim light. "Don't thank me," she said sharply. "You don't understand. If he suspects, he won't just kill you. He'll chain me, lock me away. Forever." The human's chest tightened. He had seen fear before, but never like this. Her voice was strong, but her trembling betrayed her. "I can't let that happen," he said firmly. She let out a bitter laugh, soft and broken. "And what will you do, human? Fight him? Defy a master who commands legions of guards? You are only one man. You are nothing here." The words stung, but he didn't flinch. "Maybe I am nothing here," he said quietly. "But tonight you didn't look at me like I was nothing. You looked at me like I was the only one who heard you." Her lips parted slightly, her breath catching. She looked away quickly, hiding her face. "You're wrong," she whispered. "Am I?" He pressed. Silence filled the room. She turned her back on him, walking toward the glowing wall behind the curtain. For a moment she stared at the faint markings, her hand hovering above them. Then, without looking at him, she said, "The song chose you." "I don't know how, I don't know why, but it did. That's why you heard it." The human frowned. "Chose me? What does that mean?" She turned to him suddenly, her eyes fierce. "It means we are bound now, you and I. If you repeat even a single word of what you heard, if you reveal even a breath of my secret, it will destroy us both." Her voice shook at the last word, and the human realized it was not just fear of her father or her people. It was fear of losing herself. Slowly, he stepped closer until he was standing just before her. "Then I'll keep your secret," he said softly. "No matter the cost." Her glowing eyes searched his face, looking for any sign of a lie. She found none. "You are reckless," she whispered. "But—" She hesitated, her voice softer. "Now. Brave." For a long moment they stood in silence, their eyes locked. The air between them felt charged, alive, as if the song itself was humming quietly around them. Finally she whispered, "If anyone finds out, we're finished." "Do you understand?" He nodded. "Then let them never find out." Her cheeks flushed faintly, glowing softly in the silver light. She looked down, trying to hide the warmth rising in her expression. "You don't know what you've done, human," she said. "Maybe not," he replied, his voice steady. "But I know what I feel, and I know that whatever this bond is, I don't want to break it." Her glowing eyes flicked back to him, full of conflict. She wanted to deny it, to push him away, but deep inside she couldn't. Because for the first time in her life, someone had not just heard her song. Someone had understood it, and that made the bond between them forbidden, but unbreakable. Whispers in the night. The mansion slept under its silver lights, but the human could not rest. He lay on the narrow bed given to servants, staring at the ceiling. Every sound made his heart jump. The echo of boots in the hall, the soft hum of machines, the whispers of guards passing by. But louder than all of it was her song still in his head. He could not forget the way her voice carried sadness and beauty together. It haunted him, warmed him, and frightened him all at once. When he finally closed his eyes, he heard the faint sound of footsteps stop outside his door. He held his breath. A shadow moved beneath the thin line of light. Then, silence. Whoever it was had gone. He sat up, restless, His chest was tight with worry. She had saved him tonight, but at what cost? If her father suspected, if anyone whispered about what had happened, both of them could be destroyed. Unable to stop himself, he left his room. The hall was dark, only the soft glow of symbols guiding his way. He moved quietly, careful not to wake the guards. His feet carried him back toward the forbidden door. When he reached it, his heart pounded again. He expected the room to be locked, but once more the door stood slightly open as if waiting for him. He slipped inside. The alien girl sat by the window again, her silver hair falling around her shoulders. This time she was not brushing it. She was staring at the sky, her glowing eyes reflecting the stars beyond. She did not turn when she spoke. "You should not be here." The human froze. Her voice was softer than before, not angry, not cold, tired. He stepped closer, his words low. "I couldn't sleep." She finally looked at him, her expression unreadable. The silver glow around her face made her look fragile, yet her eyes were strong. "If they find you here again, we are both lost." "I know," he admitted. "But I had to see you." Her lips parted slightly, then closed again. She turned, back to the stars. Humans are strange, always chasing danger even when it is death waiting at the end. He moved to stand beside her. Maybe, or maybe humans know some dangers are worth facing. Her gaze flicked to him again, searching his face. Something in her eyes softened, though she tried to hide it. "You risk too much." "And so do you," he replied quietly. "You lied to protect me." Her hands tightened against the windowsill. "I lied to protect myself too," she said, but her voice trembled. "Don't think me noble. I only feared what would happen if Father found you here." The human studied her carefully. "Then why let me live at all? You could have shouted when you saw me. You could have given me to the guards. But you didn't." Her eyes glowed brighter, her cheeks faintly flushed. She looked away. "Because," she hesitated, her voice breaking. "Because for the first time, someone heard me. And I couldn't let that go." The human's chest ached at her words. He wanted to reach out to comfort her, but he knew how dangerous even that simple act could be. Still, he whispered, "I'll keep hearing you, as long as you let me." She inhaled sharply, her breath trembling. For a long moment, the silence between them was louder than any words. Then the sound of distant boots shattered it. Guards were patrolling closer. Her glowing eyes widened in panic. She grabbed his arm, pulling him away from the window. "Hide!" she hissed. But before he could move, the heavy footsteps stopped outside her door. A voice muttered. Then a knock echoed in the quiet room. "Lady, are you awake?" one of the guards called. The girl's grip tightened on the human's arm. Her chest rose and fell quickly, fear mixing with anger. She leaned close, whispering so only he could hear. "Do not move, do not make a sound." Then she straightened her gown, smoothed her hair, and walked to the door. "Yes?" she asked calmly as it slid open. The guard bowed slightly. "Forgive me, lady. We heard voices. You thought wrong." She interrupted sharply, her eyes glowing fiercely. "Do you spy on me now? Is that your duty?" The guard faltered, taken aback. "No, lady, of course not. We only—" "Then leave," she commanded, her voice cutting like ice. "Or I will tell my father you disturbed me." The guard quickly bowed again. "Forgive us." He retreated, and the door closed once more. The human exhaled, his heart hammering in his chest. She turned back to him, her hands trembling despite her strong words. "See?" she whispered harshly. "Every night grows more dangerous. They are listening. They are watching. Soon even I will not be able to protect you." He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Then don't protect me. Let me protect you." Her glowing eyes widened at his words. For the first time, she looked at him not as a servant, not as a mistake, but as something else. An ally. "You?" she whispered. "Protect me?" Yes, he said firmly. Because I think you've been protecting yourself alone for too long. Her lips parted, her breath quick. She wanted to deny it, but the truth was written in her trembling hands. For a moment she looked at him with something she had never shown before. Not fear, not suspicion, but hope. Then she whispered, "Human, if you mean that, you have already chosen a path that cannot be undone." He held her gaze without flinching. "Then I've already chosen." Her heart pounded as their eyes locked in the silence of the night. The whispers in the hall faded. The danger outside remained. But inside that room, something new had begun. Something forbidden, yet unstoppable. Her question, his answer a T. Human stood in the silver glow of her chamber, his chest still tight from the fear of discovery. The alien girl's trembling hands had finally stilled, but her glowing eyes remained fixed on him. The silence between them was heavy, almost unbearable. She stepped closer, her gown brushing softly against the floor. "You should not be here," she whispered again. But her voice was different this time. No anger, no command. Only confusion and something deeper that she herself could not name. The human met her gaze. "And yet, here I am." Her lips parted. For a moment she seemed lost, torn between two worlds. "Why?" she asked finally. Her voice cracked softly, her silver eyes searching his face. "Why do you risk everything? Why do you keep coming? Back to me? You know what will happen if my father finds out. You know what the guards would do." The human inhaled slowly. He could have lied. He could have said it was curiosity, or that he had nowhere else to go. But lies would break the fragile thread of trust between them. And he could not do that. Not now. Not with her standing before him. So he spoke the truth. "Because I couldn't look away from you." Her breath caught. Her glowing eyes widened, shimmering faintly. "Look. Away?" she repeated softly, as if she could not believe the words. "Yes," he said firmly. "From the moment I heard your song, from the moment I saw you by the window, I couldn't walk away. I don't care about the danger. I don't care about your father or the guards. I care about you." The room fell into silence again, but it was not the silence of fear. It was the silence of something fragile and new being born. Her hands rose slowly, almost against her will, until her glowing fingers brushed lightly against her chest. Her heart was racing. "Humans," she whispered, her voice shaking. "Always reckless with words. Do you even know what you are saying?" "Yes," he replied. His eyes never left hers. "I know exactly what I'm saying." Her cheeks flushed faintly, glowing with a soft silver warmth. She turned away quickly, unable to hold his gaze, but her trembling gave her away. "You're dangerous," she whispered again, her voice softer than before. "Not because you are human, but because you make me feel something I should not feel." The human stepped closer, his voice steady but gentle. "Then let yourself feel it, just this once. No guards, no father, no rules. Just us." She closed her eyes, fighting the storm inside her. For years she had carried the song alone, hidden from everyone, bound by rules she never chose. And now, here stood a human. Someone her people considered nothing, who had heard it, understood it, and spoken words that shook her heart. When she opened her eyes again, they were softer, glowing like liquid silver. "Do you know what it means to speak such things to me?" she asked, her voice trembling. "No," he admitted, "but I know what it means to me." Her throat tightened. She turned back toward him, her glowing eyes filled with a fragile hope she could no longer hide. "Then say it again," she whispered. "Say it so I know it's real." The human stepped closer until only a breath of space separated them. His voice was steady, his words strong. "I couldn't look away from you. And I never will." Her lips parted, her breath catching in her chest. Her heart pounded so loudly she thought he must hear it. Slowly, almost as if afraid of breaking a dream, she lifted her hand and touched his cheek. Her glowing skin was cool against his face, but her touch burned into him like fire. For a long, endless moment, they stood there, human and alien. Two beings from different worlds bound by something neither of them fully understood. Then faintly, a sound stirred outside the door. Voices, guards. The danger had not vanished. She pulled her hand back quickly, her glowing eyes sharp with fear. "You must leave," she whispered urgently. "If they find you here now, everything ends." But the human shook his head. "No, I won't leave you. Not tonight. Not ever." Her lips trembled, her eyes shining with both fear and something close to joy. She wanted to argue to push him away for his own safety, but the words died on her tongue, because deep inside she knew the truth. She did not want him to leave either. The voices outside faded again, the danger passing for now. She let out a shaky breath, her shoulders relaxing slightly. Then she looked at him one last time, her glowing cheeks faintly flushed. "Human," she whispered softly. "Maybe you are not what I was told you were." The human smiled gently. "And maybe you are more than you were told you are." Her chest tightened at his words. She turned back toward the window, the stars reflecting in her glowing eyes, and whispered, so quietly he almost didn't hear, "Stay, just a little longer." And in that moment, despite the walls, the rules, and the danger pressing in around them, a forbidden bond became something unshakable, something neither her father nor her guards could ever destroy, because sometimes a single answer was enough to change everything.